Although obstructive sleep apnea is the most common apnea by far, there are many types of sleep apnea. The next most common is central sleep apnea, oftentimes referred to as simply CSA. CSA is related to cardiovascular problems. In fact, it affects about a third of people who suffer from heart failure. The symptoms of central sleep apnea are similar to those of obstructive sleep apnea, but the cause is different. Instead of obstruction of the airways, central sleep apnea is caused by a lack of a drive to breathe. In other words, the brain fails to cue the diaphragm to breathe during sleep. There is evidence that CPAP therapy may actually be harmful for this condition, and thus, until recently, there was not a good treatment available. However, there is now an implanted nerve stimulator device, as pictured here on this slide, in development. It works like a pacemaker, sending regular signals stimulating the diaphragm to breathe during sleep. It has proven promising for significantly reducing apneas and significantly increasing quality of sleep, which in turn could significantly improve cardiovascular health. Narcolepsy is characterized by excessive, perpetual sleepiness. For many, this is accompanied by weakness of the muscles, especially when experiencing high emotion. They suddenly become very weak in the legs or may even collapse to the ground like dropped marionettes. With others, it is experienced as blackouts where they lose time, and this can range from a few minutes to hours. But their bodies still engage in automatic behavior like driving or working a repetitive job. And then, for a minority of sufferers, it is experienced as brief, sudden sleep attacks, complete with REM sleep paralysis. Narcolepsy is caused by 1. Poor non-REM sleep at night, 2. Overall fragmented sleep, and 3. REM sleep intruding into daytime hours. Because poor non-REM sleep builds the need for REM sleep, sufferers often enter REM immediately when falling asleep. Sufferers tend to experience a lot of driving accidents and employment problems because of falling asleep and having accidents on the job. About 50% of sufferers experience frequent hallucinations during sleep onset and while awakening, along with sleep paralysis. Because these are byproducts of narcolepsy, narcolepsy is still the prominent diagnosis. Additionally, sufferers' social lives tend to take a hit in that they cannot engage in quiet activities like movies, dinner parties, playing cards, etc., because they have difficulty staying awake. And it is not like they can partake in more active activities like sports either, because they are too sleepy to maintain adequate alertness. Like those with sleep apnea, sufferers experience daytime sleepiness, which can cause depression, irritability, and hostility. And they experience judgment, memory, and concentration problems. Because of the fact that narcolepsy attacks are most likely to be triggered by strong emotion, sufferers tend to guard their emotions and thus come across as dull and emotionally flat. Siegel in 2013 found that the brains of people with narcolepsy have 65% more cells containing histamine. Wow! Fortunately, treatment has a high success rate. It includes improvement of sleep, scheduled naps, and pharmaceuticals that would be stimulants for waking hours and other meds to reduce or eliminate muscle weakness and/or paralysis. Idiopathic means something arises spontaneously, seemingly without a rational cause, and its symptoms are not accounted for by other known conditions. This is why students sometimes remember the definition informally of idiopathic as WTF. Thus, idiopathic hypersomnia is excessive sleepiness that arises spontaneously and is not accounted for by poor sleep quality. Individuals with idiopathic hypersomnia sleep deeply and they show normal polysomnography at night. So their sleep quality is good, but it is often longer than normal. It is not unusual for someone with hypersomnia to sleep 10 hours per night. There is a genetic component to idiopathic hypersomnia, and the only treatments are good sleep and stimulants.